It's really a pleasure to speak to you this morning, albeit from the spare bedroom here in my house in Dublin. I'd prefer to be with you all in Belfast to discuss this face to face, but here we are. These are the times we're living in. My name is Andrew Forde. I'm the head of rural strategy and social enterprise at the Department of Rural and Community Development in Dublin, and I'm here, I suppose, speaking on behalf of the government. And with that in mind, I want to just thank, first of all, the SEUPB for inviting me to attend and to speak a little bit about the relevance of this fantastic opportunity, this fantastic call to the broader policy, I suppose, landscape, both in Ireland and internationally. I want to also sincerely thank our colleagues at the Executive Office from the Government of Northern Ireland for the partnership. I mean, it just shows again how important that partnership is in delivering innovative programs such as this, which I think will create huge opportunity for all of our communities, our societies and our economies. It was clear, and I don't want to repeat what Paul has said so clearly, but it is important, I think, just to link back the policy priorities that are outlined in this call, which are very, very clear around community-led social innovation, cross-border and obviously cross-community collaboration, social cohesion in its broadest sense, which is more than just inclusion, I would say, but trying to strive to reach a point where communities are actively cooperating and collaborating, which is a challenge in all jurisdictions. But obviously we recognise there are specific challenges, of course, in Northern Ireland and around the border area. Community development, both rural and urban, and I might come back to that point a little bit later, that there are specific, I think, opportunities around innovation in rural areas. And finally, sustainability, which Paul, I think, rightly underlined as being a clear priority of this call. These all link, I would argue, to broader challenges. You hear them sometimes referred to as mega trends, broader challenges facing our societies. And I'm just listing a few of them on this slide. Diversity, obviously COVID-19, climate and Brexit. These are serious challenges facing all of society, actually, government, non-government, community groups, individuals, fundamentally shaping our lives today and into the future. But I would like to just argue that I think these all present a huge opportunity for us to think about how we've done our business hitherto and to see if there are ways we can reflect on how we might actually do things differently, inject some innovation, develop new partnerships and new practices that can help address either legacy or new challenges. So for instance, when it comes to diversity, to try to, and I think this is something you may keep in mind as you develop your programs and your projects, how to build understanding, trust and tolerance. Regarding COVID-19, I mean, there's naturally been from my government and all governments a strong focus on the economic, I suppose, rebuilding the economy, getting people back to work, getting jobs restarted and so on. But we shouldn't neglect the social and cultural dimensions of recovery. And I think this is where social innovation, and in particular, I'll speak about social enterprise, really comes to the fore. It marries all of these elements. Regarding climate action, obviously, it's the biggest challenge of our generation. And there are actions that can be innovative and developed in the area of mitigation, adaptation and transition, and not just transition, but a fair transition, which recognizes, I think, the specific challenges facing different groups of people, those who are marginalized, those who are in rural areas or isolated, those who are not as equipped as others potentially to adapt. And Brexit is a significant challenge for all of us, but there is a real opportunity there to develop new kinds of partnerships, build in resilience into communities, into businesses, and to diversify in how we approach things. So I suppose the bottom line here is that all of this is the context in which social innovation can happen and should happen. Social innovation is not monopolized by one sector, certainly not monopolized by the social enterprise sector. There are massive opportunities, and I would like just to impress upon you all the variety of areas in which you can be considering how do you develop your projects. All of this, I would suggest, speaks to the new paradigm of sustainable development. Paul referred to the importance of sustainability on numerous occasions. This new paradigm, which is not so new, but it is more and more embedded, I would suggest, in how we do our business. And certainly at an EU level, this permeates all of the EU's programs and policies, which I'll discuss shortly. It recognizes the interdependence between planet, people, prosperity, partnership, and peace. You can't focus on one without the other, and to do so would neglect potentially an opportunity. So this is, I think, what we need to try to strive for, this kind of interdependent approach, which is holistic and inclusive in the way it is addressed. Fundamentally, it's around not just trying to recover, but, and you've probably all seen this mentioned on a number of occasions already, but it's really about building back better. We have a fundamental opportunity now, a convergence of challenges that creates a unique opportunity just to reimagine what the future might be like. And to do so, I think it requires just harnessing both the ingenuity and the cooperation of people from all communities, north and south of the border and within their own communities, based on the specific opportunities in their places where they are and their circumstances, to realize, I think, new possibilities. So just turning briefly to the policy framework in the Republic of Ireland around this whole issue that we're discussing today. I'm going to just focus on probably two briefly, but there are a number of others. The social enterprise policy for Ireland is one of the newest policies that our department has and the government has put out, and the first of its kind in relation to social enterprise. And it is quite innovative in itself, because it seeks to address an area of business and innovation that has until now not really had significant level of policy support. Fundamentally, the policy is all about supporting social enterprise to maximize social, societal, and environmental impact. So there's a perfect complementarity between what social enterprise and this particular policy is trying to achieve, and the broad spirit of the call today, which is why I'm speaking to you. But what is a social enterprise? And forgive me, a lot of people on this call may be well familiar, but others may not, and may not have considered what the opportunity social enterprise presents is. Social enterprises, as far as we're concerned, are enterprises whose objectives are to achieve a social, societal, or environmental impact, rather than maximizing profit. So they are businesses. They trade on an ongoing basis by providing goods or services, but they reinvest into achieving the clear social objectives. And thirdly, they are governed in a fully accountable and transparent manner, independent of the public sector. So this is what we're talking about when we talk about social enterprise. So it's not business, it's business plus. It's about doing business better, actually, where there's a broader community gain, community partners, participation element. And there's a huge opportunity, I think, around social enterprise. And I should say a significant sector developed both north and south of the border. Our policy is built around three objectives: to build awareness, to ensure there's broader awareness both within the public sector, but also the broader public and society around what social enterprises are, what they offer, where they're situated as part of a business ecosystem, but also deeply embedded in communities. Second element is around growing and strengthening social enterprises to try to build them even further. And this is really in line with international good practice as well. This is not just a Northwestern European movement. This is very much a global movement that there's increasing understanding about the value of it. And finally, achieving policy alignment. What do the social enterprises look like? And this might be just food for thought in relation to some of the programs you might be proposing as part of this call. Well, work integration social enterprises are a very strong feature of the social enterprise ecosystem. That is to say, those social enterprises that target the most marginalized potentially in our society, those who have been furthest from the job market, be it because of their disability or level of ability, be it because of where they reside, potentially because of their previous conviction or whatever. And work integration social enterprises, I think, very much speak to the idea of inclusiveness and cohesion in community. So there's a real opportunity, I think, there. Enterprise development obviously is around just using the social enterprise model to build business and create jobs, delivering community services throughout communities, increasingly the circular and the green economies, which very much speaks to, I think, the broader efforts around sustainable development and environment and so on. Again, micro energy generation, we see a huge opportunity here for cooperative movement and so on, potentially to develop in terms of micro energy generation. And finally, just to say that social enterprises take many, many different forms, both urban, rural, regional, and even transnational, international social enterprises. And I think it's important to recognize the distinctions between them all. They all serve a unique kind of purpose based on their own specific circumstances or context of operation. And there are, I think, specific opportunities in both the rural and the urban areas. More broadly, this call speaks to a variety of different policies within the Irish context. The first I would point to is actually not on this slide, but it's the 5-year strategy for empowered, inclusive and sustainable communities, which my department has also developed last year, which is, I think, worth referencing when you are preparing your proposals, because there's a lot in there that I think is very useful. It was very much a co-produced document which set out how actually the government can work together with communities to empower them to be masters of their own destiny in many ways. Other policies which are relevant are sectoral. For instance, here on the left-hand side of this slide, you'll see it's the Department of Justice in Ireland, their strategy on social enterprise. So that's very much a sectoral focus. The programme for our new government has very strong and clear references to building on the National Social Enterprise Policy, supporting communities, developing the circular economy, all of these kinds of areas of work. And I just thought it would be useful also to refer here on the right-hand side to the local strategies, which are increasingly developing in Ireland now around social enterprise and have a very strong relevance to social inclusion. We have the recently launched the Loud Leader Partnership social enterprise strategy, which I think is again, just speaks to the opportunity along the border region where plans are developing on how to actually foster social enterprise and social innovation in specific ways around the border counties. Paul also mentioned the broader international focus, and you'll have seen in my earlier slides, the eagle eye amongst you will have seen the SDGs logo. The Sustainable Development Goals are really a very important linchpin, I think, of anything that is related to social economy and social innovation in this sector. A number of them are being, I would actually suggest that all of the social enterprises that exist on this island address at least one, if not more, of the Sustainable Development Goals. So there's already a very natural alignment there. Social enterprises are typically SDG champions, but it goes beyond the Sustainable Development Goals. The OECD has very significant work done in relation to standards on social enterprises, recently released a very important report which speaks to the importance of social enterprise and social innovation as part of the COVID recovery process. Similar, the ILO and obviously the European Commission is really out front and center on this with the various actions and policies they have produced. They'll be developing a new action plan specifically on the social economy next year. And finally, on the UN level, again, the UN also is cognizant of the link between social innovation, social enterprise, and sustainable development, with a UN General Assembly resolution on this issue due to be debated at the end of this year and passed early next year. So it's just to say that this is very much a global movement. There's huge opportunity there. There are potentially good examples to be gleaned from other jurisdictions, and certainly lots of inspirational documents for you to refer to and look through as you develop your proposals. So just to sum up with one eye on the clock, what we're talking about here is we're talking about trying to achieve more sustainable, cohesive societies and economies, fundamentally. That's what this call is all about. That's what social enterprise and social innovation are all about. These are multi-sectoral and complementary. They're not just, they're not just based in exclusively in community groups. It can be much broader than that. We should be thinking as ambitiously as possible about different ways to reach the various targets and objectives of this specific call. They can help address major societal challenges, those that have been tried to be addressed in the past but have not succeeded. Let's try something new, something different. They're a key enabler of a sustainable and inclusive economy. because those things are important. We need to move away from the growth model to a model which recognizes value and recognizes the importance of growth that is sustainable and inclusive. And as I said, they're growing in scale and scope and impact on a daily basis. And we, I think, have a duty to do what we can to build on that momentum. We already have excellent collaboration. I'm very happy to say North-South in the area of social enterprise, with Social Enterprise Northern Ireland being a very important partner, and others, obviously. This is something we'd very much like to build on. So the final point is that this is, I think, ideally suited to North-South collaboration. And I would hope that we will see many good projects being proposed where there is a really clear North-South collaboration between various communities, organizations, and so on. Look, I started off by talking about the macro challenges and the mega trends, but really we have a unique opportunity here. This call is a tremendous opportunity, I think, to think big, to think ambitiously. And I just want to thank you all again for your attention.